The Great Migration is one of the most significant movements of people in American history, a journey that reshaped the culture, economy, and demographics of the United States. Over 6 million African Americans left the South between the early 1900s and the 1970s, seeking better opportunities in the North and West. But this migration was not just about geography, it was about survival, dignity, and the pursuit of the American dream. Today, a new migration trend is emerging as many Black Americans are returning to the South in what is now known as the reverse migration. Why did so many leave in the first place, and what is bringing them back now? The roots of the Great Migration go back to the Reconstruction era following the Civil War. African Americans were legally free, but they were far from equal. The promise of 40 acres and a mule never materialized. Instead, newly freed Black men and women were forced into a system of sharecropping, a cycle of debt them tied to white landowners. The laws of the South, known as Jim Crow, reinforced segregation and stripped Black citizens of their rights through poll taxes, literacy tests, and outright violence. Black Americans were denied the ability to vote, attend quality schools, or even walk down the street without fear of intimidation. The turn of the 20th century brought new economic opportunities, but they were not in the South. The Industrial Revolution in the North created jobs and factories, steel mills, and railroads world. I only accelerated as demand as white workers left for the battlefield. Black workers were recruited to fill their positions for the first time. There was an alternative to the oppression of the Southward spread through newspapers, letters, and community leaders that jobs and freedom awaited those who were willing to make the journey to Chicago, Detroit, New York, and other northern cities. This migration was not an easy journey. Trains, buses, and even long walks on foot carried African Americans to unknown destinations. Some left in the middle of the night to avoid retaliation from white landowners. Many families were forced to leave behind everything they had ever known, risking their lives for a chance at a better future. When they arrived in the North, they were met with both opportunity and new challenges. While the North lacked official segregation laws, racial discrimination was still widespread. Black workers were often given the lowest paying jobs and forced into overcrowded neighborhoods. Some white residents responded to the influx of Black newcomers with hostilities. Despite these challenges, Black communities thrived. The Harlem Renaissance emerged from this migration, producing some of the most influential cultural movements in American history. Writers like Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston, artists like Aaron Douglas, and musicians like Duke Ellington and Louis Armstrong reshaped literature, music, and art. Black newspapers like the Chicago Defender gave a voice to the struggles and triumphs of the community. Meanwhile, organizations like the NAA fought legal battles to secure civil rights. The second wave of the Great Migration began during World War II, when defense industries expanded job opportunities in the North and West cities, like Los Angeles and Oakland, saw an influx of Black workers contributing to shipyards and war industries. This movement continued into the 1960s as the civil rights movement gained momentum. African Americans in the South fought for the right to vote, desegregate schools, and challenge racist policies. But even as progress was made, racial violence continued, prompting more families to leave in search of safety. For decades, Black Americans built strong communities in the North and West. But by the late 20th century, the economic landscape began to change. Manufacturing jobs that once supported Black middle-class families disappeared as industries moved overseas. Deindustrialization left many urban centers struggling with job loss, crime, and failing schools. Housing discrimination and redlining had already prevented Black families from accumulating wealth through homeownership, making it difficult to pass financial stability to future generations. These economic pressures, combined with a desire for a better quality of life, led many to reconsider their options. This brings us to the present day. Over the last few decades, a significant number of African Americans have been moving back to the South Atlanta. Charlotte, Houston, and other southern cities have seen a rise in Black professionals, entrepreneurs, and families seeking new opportunities. The reasons for this reverse migration are complex, but several key factors stand out. First, the South has experienced economic growth in industries like technology, healthcare, and entertainment, creating job opportunities that were once only found in northern cities. Second, the cost of living is generally lower than in major northern metropolitan areas, allowing black families to buy homes and build wealth. Third, many are returning to be closer to family and reconnect with their cultural roots. Black-owned businesses have also seen growth in the South, from small enterprises to major corporations. Atlanta, in particular, has become a hub for Black entrepreneurship and entertainment, with companies like Tyler Perry Studios leading the way. The influence of historically Black colleges and universities has also played a role, drawing students and professionals to cities that offer strong Black communities and networking opportunities. This trend marks a new chapter in the story of Black migration in America. However, this return to the South is not without its challenges. Gentrification in cities like Atlanta and Charlotte has led to rising home prices and displacement of longtime Black residents. Political and social issues remain a concern, as some states have enacted policies that disproportionately affect Black communities. Despite these challenges, the trend continues as Black Americans seek economic mobility, cultural connection, and community support. The history of the Great Migration and the current reverse migration reveal the resilience of African Americans throughout history. They have moved not just for survival, but for the promise of something better. Their journey has shaped the country in profound ways, influencing culture, politics, and economic growth today as new opportunities emerge in the South Block. Americans are once again making history, forging new paths, and redefining what prosperity looks like in America.